Greetings collectors and welcome to today's retro game review. Today we're going to be taking a look at a rather forgotten mid-90s combat racing game. Today we're taking a look back at Hi Octane. Hi Octane was released on the Sega Saturn, Sony PlayStation and DOS PC, developed by Bullfrog Productions and published by Electronic Arts. The mid-90s saw the shift away from traditional 2D racing games in favour of developing the next generation polygon racers on the 32-bit platforms. Perhaps the best known of these games was Wipeout, which saw several sequels. Hi Octane on the other hand remained a one-off. As such, its popularity hasn't transferred to the newer gaming generation, as what is on show here is very much a product of its time, never updated and perhaps not so relevant for the next generation. I've got a bit of a soft spot for Bullfrog Productions though, and games that tend to get lost in the long grass of the retro gaming field. Hi Octane may not be the best in class, but there's definitely enough reasons for you to give this game a try. Firstly, its vehicle roster. There's all shapes and sizes on display here for your choosing. You can go slow and powerful, fast but fragile, or balance the two. I can't help choosing the one that looks like the DeLorean from Back to the Future, as it's overall well balanced. Setup to the game is very easy, and there are a multitude of game modes to explore. Everything from championship season, single events, death matches, split screen and hot seat modes. Instantly, when you first play Hi Octane, you will certainly have to adapt to the control method. By default, you press forward on the D-pad to accelerate. Whilst this isn't uncommon in older games, it's perhaps not my favourite option, as you have to be extra mindful not to stall on sharp bends. At first, the control also seems quite wobbly and really appears to lack precision when turning. This is partially due to the reused control method from Bullfrog's earlier Magic Carpet game. It does get the job done, but it will feel somewhat awkward if you haven't played this type of game for some time. By not assigning Accelerate to a button though, does free you up on the right hand side of the control pad. You will be required to use three main elements to successfully dominate a race: the minigun, speed boost and missiles. Each of these are assigned their own buttons. Early on, you'll notice that you will be in an all-out war with your opponents. If you can sidle up behind them, it's worth releasing your minigun to wear their ship down and give them some issues. Be careful though, as your minigun will overheat, so use it wisely. Secondly is the missile attack. You'll only have a limited number of these, but they do pack a punch. Line yourself up behind your rival and let the missiles fly. You'll see their life bar deplete, and you will either force them to repair or destroy them completely. The third element is the speed boost. Periodically you can charge your boost and release it to your advantage. You can either use this in an obvious way on the long straight sections of the track, or save it for more tactical moments when you need to outrun the guns of a following player. Hi Octane also requires you to make strategic decisions in the way that you race. On each lap you can enter pit stops to add to your fuel, weaponry and shields. You can stop on these recharge pads for a full recharge and lose time, or simply fly through them, but only receive a small amount of their top-up effects. This really adds to the strategy of the race. You may be happy to go close to running out of fuel if the extra speed on track will see you to a safer position. Safety is a major concern in Hi Octane. Moments when you're bunched together with your opponents are often the most tense. You'll find that there is a strong buzz of minigun fire and multiple rocket explosions going off. If you or your opponent do suffer a death, the penalty is time. The rescue bots will get you back up and running, but there can be a frustrating few seconds as you feel time slipping away from you. If you can be on the right side of the killing though, there's a really great sense of satisfaction. Notice here as my kill count goes from 0 to 3 with a well placed missile. This is exactly the reason you can't afford to hang around near the refueling stops. It is also worth going for those kills. Once a ship explodes, it will drop useful cargo power-ups such as larger fuel tanks. These perks, in addition to the standard red icon pickups, can build to give you a small advantage and tip the scales in your favour. One noticeable element in Hi Octane is its soundtrack. I'm not exactly sure what genre you would put it in, but it's something between industrial and dance. Each track is high tempo and full of pulsing beats. It fits the gameplay like a glove. In terms of track layout, Hi Octane offers up a very good selection. The first 2 tracks are reasonably easy to memorise. Track 3, the Shanghai Dragon, is where the game takes a little more dedication though. Its hairpins, crossovers and jumps make this a really exciting challenge. Each track also has a set of shortcuts. These can save you large amounts of time. Get it wrong though and you can find yourself stuck on a wall. In general, I have very few criticisms of Hi Octane, but getting trapped on the edge of a wall can lose you large amounts of time in a race, and is in my opinion something that should have been addressed in the development. Simply bouncing the vehicle back into the runway would suffice. Instead, there's an awkward grind to get back up and running again. For more modern gamers, the draw distance may also be seen as an issue. Due to the processing power required for fast action, there had to be limitations somewhere. You can see far enough into the track, and there is a map to follow. However, it does make you appreciate the power of more modern machines. It would be unfair to criticise the Sega Saturn or Sony PlayStation though, as this was the standard of the day. Having said that, the local split screen mode would have been quite hard work for the player even back in the day. The last criticism I have is also around processing power. Hi Octane was pitched as a high octane game, meaning lots of speed. There is a genuine feeling of speed, but I dare say that the average frame rate is in need of a little boost. It's not a game killer, but you do find after a while that you manually compensate for the frame rate. Overall though, the graphics and general presentation do take you to a post-apocalyptic racing world, so there's no major complaints from my side. In terms of physical presentation, Hi Octane comes packaged in a rather large plastic case. The big box version of Sega Saturn games were the oddity, although Electronic Arts did also publish Magic Carpet in the same format. The main advantage of this format was that the box could contain more than one game disc. In the UK, pricing is a bit of a mixed bag for the Sega Saturn edition. In recent weeks on the auction sites, the game has gone from anywhere from £2 all the way up to £15. Personally, I feel you should look to pay no more than £5 for the game. If you're collecting in the US, I suggest paying no more than $10 at most. Hi Octane may not have gone down in gaming history as a best in class of its type. It is, however, a very solid game. What it gets right is the strategy element of balancing weaponry, shields and fuel, the diverse vehicle selection and the balance of gameplay. If the game were to be remade today with fixes to the control method and graphical limitations of the 90s, I'm certain that Hi Octane could be rebooted into a really fascinating retro revival. For now though, you're going to have to keep it retro. Hello again, I hope you enjoyed today's show and thank you for the view. Remember, you can always comment, like, subscribe and find us on the social media sites below. Happy collecting!